Canada leads historic union with USA. The USA is officially becoming Canada's 11th province, or as some are calling it, Southern Canada. In exchange, we'll get universal health care and hockey lessons. I also guess we're trading our guns for maple syrup. Ever wondered what would happen if the USA became part of Canada? Imagine a world where American and Canadian cultures blend together, creating a unique and fascinating hybrid nation. In this video, we'll explore the humorous and thought-provoking implications of such a union, from universal healthcare to a newfound love for poutine. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this alternate reality. First up, universal healthcare. Americans would finally gain access to Canada's publicly funded healthcare system. Gone would be the days of astronomical medical bills and insurance headaches. Of course, private insurance might still exist for supplemental coverage, but overall, the healthcare landscape would dramatically improve. Imagine the size of relief from millions of Americans who can now visit a doctor without worrying about bankrupting themselves. Next, let's talk about gun laws. Canada has much stricter gun control policies compared to the USA. If the two countries merged, many firearms common in the States would be banned, and gun ownership would require extensive licensing, training, and justification. This could lead to some interesting cultural shifts, as Americans trade their guns for something less controversial, like hockey sticks. Higher taxes would be another significant change. To fund social services like healthcare and education, Americans would face higher taxes similar to those in Canada. Sales taxes, such as the GST, would become a common feature across the nation. While higher taxes might be a bitter pill to swallow, the improved social services could make it all worthwhile. Plus, who wouldn't want to contribute to a country that provides free healthcare and affordable education? The US government would be replaced with Canada's parliamentary democracy, meaning a prime minister, elected by parliament, would take the place of the president. Political debates might become more polite and filled with sorries, but the new system could lead to more efficient governance. It would be fascinating to see how Americans adapt to this new way of running their country. Speaking of changes, the metric system would replace the imperial system for measurements. Road signs would switch to kilometers, and grocery shopping would involve grams and liters. This might cause some initial confusion, but ultimately it would bring the USA in line with the rest of the world. Plus, it's a great opportunity for everyone to brush up on their math skills. French would become a co-official language nationwide, reflecting Canada's bilingual nature. Americans would likely see more bilingual signage and mandatory French classes in schools. Imagine the cultural enrichment that comes with learning a new language. Bonjour, mes amis. Embracing French could open up new opportunities for travel, business, and personal growth. The legal drinking and smoking age would likely standardize at 18 or 19, depending on provincial laws. Additionally, cannabis would remain federally legal, reflecting Canadian law. This could lead to a more relaxed attitude towards certain substances and fewer legal hassles for young adults. Cheers to that. The education system would see significant changes as well. Public university tuition would drop dramatically, resembling Canada's more affordable system. U.S. citizens could attend college without incurring massive student loan debt, making higher education accessible to more people. This could lead to a more educated and skilled workforce, benefiting the entire nation. Canada's more open and inclusive immigration system would replace the USA's stricter policies. Pathways to citizenship would likely become easier for immigrants, fostering a more diverse and multicultural society. This could lead to an influx of new ideas, traditions, and cuisines, enriching the fabric of the nation. Let's shift our focus to food and cuisine. Poutine, a beloved Canadian dish of fries, cheese curds, and gravy, might become a national favorite. Maple syrup would become a pantry staple, and Tim Hortons would pop up on every corner, giving Dunkin' and Starbucks a run for their money. The culinary landscape would become a delightful blend of American and Canadian flavors. Environmental policies would see a significant overhaul. Canada's stricter environmental protections and climate change initiatives would replace weaker U.S. policies. Fossil fuel projects would face more regulation and scrutiny, leading to a greener and more sustainable nation. This could result in cleaner air, more forests, and a healthier environment for future generations. Indigenous rights would be another important area of change. Canada's treaties and recognition of Indigenous land rights would become standard across former U.S. states. Indigenous governance and consultation on natural resource use would expand, fostering a more respectful and inclusive nation. This could lead to greater cultural understanding and collaboration. Universal access to abortion would become the norm, overriding restrictive laws in former U.S. states. Women's reproductive rights would be protected nationwide, ensuring that everyone has access to safe and legal healthcare options. This could lead to improved health outcomes and greater gender equality. Holidays and traditions would see some adjustments. Canadian holidays like Canada Day on the 1st of July would either replace or coexist with Independence Day. Thanksgiving would move to October, reflecting Canada's earlier celebration. This would provide more opportunities for festive gatherings and delicious feasts with family and friends. Policing and justice reform would bring significant changes. Policing in the former USA would adopt Canada's community-based, less militarized approach. The death penalty would be abolished nationwide, reflecting Canada's stance on capital punishment. This could lead to a more humane and just society, focused on rehabilitation rather than retribution. The banking and currency system would also undergo a transformation. The Canadian dollar would become the official currency, and Americans would adjust to colorful bills and coins like the loonie, which is the $1 coin, and the toonie, which is the $2 coin. This might take some getting used to, but the new currency could bring a fresh and vibrant feel to daily transactions. Healthcare-first policies would shift the approach to drug addiction. Instead of treating addiction as a criminal issue, it would be seen as a healthcare issue, with more focus on rehabilitation and harm reduction. This compassionate approach could lead to better outcomes for those struggling with addiction and reduce the strain on the criminal justice system. Trade and employment laws would see improvements as well. Workers would benefit from stronger labor protections, including longer parental leaves and more vacation time. Right-to-work laws in former U.S. states would be dismantled, leading to better working conditions and greater job security for employees. Sports and culture would experience a shift, too. Hockey might replace football as the national sport, bringing Canadians' love of winter sports to former U.S. states. Maple syrup would become even more popular, and ice rinks might spring up in unexpected places. This cultural exchange would create a unique blend of traditions and pastimes. Finally, international relations would see a significant shift. The U.S.'s more aggressive foreign policy would soften to align with Canada's diplomatic approach. Military budgets might decrease as Canada's peacekeeping tradition takes priority. This could lead to a more peaceful and cooperative presence on the global stage. The hypothetical union of the USA and Canada would bring about a plethora of changes, both humorous and serious. From universal healthcare and stricter gun laws to poutine and hockey, the blending of these two nations would create a fascinating and unique hybrid. While some adjustments might be challenging, the overall benefits and cultural enrichment could lead to a brighter and more inclusive future for all. Thanks for joining us on this imaginative journey. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.